Well, hello, everyone. Hello, this is Alexandra Levine hosting The Pulse. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Breaking news, everyone. Breaking news. This is the first breaking news that happened this afternoon. President Trump announcing that Hamas and Israel have officially agreed to phase 1 of the peace plan. All hostages will be released. This is part of the peace plan. And Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line. So just to clarify, Israel is not fully pulling out all of their troops out of Gaza. They're just withdrawing some of the troops from an agreed upon line. But this is something that nobody thought that President Trump and Netanyahu could broker with Hamas, but they brokered the deal today. Again, this is phase 1 with Steve Witkoff. After phase 1, we'll go into phase 2, phase 3. But this is historic news today. Also, historic news. This morning at 9 a.m., James Comey was brought in. He pled not guilty to the charges against him. His trial will be January 5th, and that will be open to the public. Hopefully, everybody will get to see that. And hopefully, he will be charged and he will be in jail. And we can put James Comey behind us for what he did to President Trump and what he did to his team. Now our monologue tonight. So again, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm your host. We are still in the Schumer shutdown. The Democrats refuse to reopen the government until they give illegals health care. Is this what we want? Is this what we, the people, want? The Democrats are now trying to play the saint. And some of them are now refusing to take their salaries, but they caused the problem. The hypocrisy of these Democrats is disgusting. They're solely doing this because President Trump worked to get the one big, beautiful bill passed. This is not what Americans want, and the entire world is watching. We want the government to reopen, but we do not want to give illegals health care. It is illegal to do this. That's why elections have consequences, guys, and we have to be smart. We have to be smart going into the polls because this time, guys, we cannot have radicals in offices and high positions of power. Well, guys, we have a jam-packed show for you tonight. Let's introduce you to my other hosts and my guests. My next host, this guy, Popeye the Sailor Man, our very own, the conservative corner, Seth Eisenberg. Woohoo!
Hey, how are you?
There we are. And the guy who taught us all what hallway sex is, the Hammer, Damon Galdo of the Jersey Shore.
Yes, hallway sex. I told you all what it was. Thank you very much.
Hi, Damon's wife. I'm Mrs. Galdo. And we don't know tonight if she'll eat bananas or guacamole or talk about it all. Our very own food liaison, Elena Barber from the Base Mother.
We're on sweet potato chips tonight. Nice to be here.
Ooh, nice. I love it. And our special guest tonight, Dan Cuellar. He's a retired news anchor, but not a fake news anchor. Let's bring him on.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on tonight. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight.
Awesome. Let's bring everybody on. Great. So segment 1 tonight starts out with remembering October 7th. As we know, October 7th, this is 2-year anniversary. It was horrible. 1,200 innocent people were murdered, burned, tortured, and raped on this fatal day. And this has to do with the Jewish holidays right now. We just finished Rosh Hashanah. We finished Yom Kippur. We're actually in Sukkot right now. But this happened on Simchat Torah. And it was a horrific day that should have never happened. You know, I pivot to you, Seth Eisenberg, on this because you and I, you know, we're people of the tribe. What do you say going from the 2-year anniversary and how can we move forward from this?
Well, I think the peace agreement's ridiculous. We're rewarding Hamas for bad behavior, murder and rape and torture, and they get to walk away from it. I'm surprised they've actually agreed to anything. And I'm still waiting for the next phases to start because at some point they're going to say, no, we're not doing that. All they're doing right now is regrouping. This is all time for them to regroup, rearm, and get everything set back up to do this again. Because if they don't kill all those sons of bitches now, and put the fear of God in Gaza. In 4 years, we're going to be right back where we are right now. They're going to be doing the same things, and they're going to be killing and murdering, and they're all going to go, geez, we should. Why is this happening again? It's ridiculous. It's going to happen again. They shouldn't be involved with any, regardless of any pressure from any outside country. Israel should say, nope, they're not the ones. You're not getting rocketed. You're not getting raped. You're not getting murdered. You're not getting burned to death. You don't live in constant fear. We do. We're going to end this now. We want no peace with you. You can't compromise or talk with people about peace who have vowed to kill you. It's in their, like, in the Constitution or whatever they want to call it, to eradicate the Jewish state and the Jews. How can you trust them to do anything other than kill you like they've promised to do? I think it's stupid. I think they're going to regret it. In 4 years, we'll be talking about this again. There'll be another October 7th in the next 4 years. And it's going to be worse because now they know what to expect.
Well, Damon Gatto, let me turn it to you because, President Trump, when Netanyahu first came, to the halls of Congress, President Trump talked about the outside idea of owning Gaza, the United States actually owning Gaza, turning it into a Riviera, calling it, quote unquote, Mara Gaza. And now we have this phase one of, Hamas basically saying, we'll release all the hostages, but Israel, you need to remove your troops. So what happened to the United States is going to take over Gaza to now Israel may be pulling out?
Well, I don't think the United States should take over Gaza. I think that we should not be that involved in it. I think, like Seth said, there's different looks on it. Yeah, just annihilate Hamas and let Israel do their thing. But again, I'm on the side of life for everything. I'm not Hamas's side, of course not. But I think that we need to stick to America first, and we don't need to get involved with Gaza. I think we should let Israel handle this conflict and let them do their thing however they see fit. If they feel like they're threatened from Hamas, now there are people that are innocent over there. There are some, but it's just it's a terrorist group that's over there. So yes, do they need to be eradicated? Is there a chance they're going to come back? Yeah, it always happens. Seth made a good point with that, but I don't think we should be that involved in it. That's all I'm saying. Well,
pivot to you on that. So you talked about America and that we should only put Americans first, but there was a pro-Palestinian video, Damon Sherrod, you're going to play for us now, in America that happened, that it was played actually yesterday. Let's play the video.
We did not act enough. No. We did not act enough. We did not act enough. Repeat after me. We did not act enough. We did not act enough. If we acted enough. If we acted enough. The headline behind me would read. The headline behind me would read. Gaza has been liberated. Gaza has been liberated. So our work is not done. So our work is not done. We must show up. We must show up. Stronger than we did the first October 7th. Louder than we did the first October 7th. To make it clear that we are not going anywhere. We will keep fighting until Palestine is free. Until Palestine is free. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Within our lifetime. Make some noise.
So this happened in America.
Yeah, well, okay. Let me finish up my comments now after seeing that. Now, for those people, they want to keep fighting from the river to the sea, calling for the annihilation of the Jewish state and all that. Yeah, well, then get out of my country and go and continue your fight over there and cut Israel loose and let them handle their own things. That's why I say America first. Yes. Do I agree with what we did in Iran, bombing Iran to get rid of the nuclear stuff? Yeah, sure. We should have got involved in that. But that guy and everyone there, they want to continue the fight, ship them out of this country over to Gaza and say, have at it. Have your fight. Go toe-to-toe with Israel and see what happens.
And Dan, pivot to you. What are your thoughts on
the
video?
It is rhetoric like what you just showed on that video that gives us a sense of trepidation about this peace deal. Because when you talk like that, you got to believe that these people they just have this hatred for Israel, and we saw it on October 7th a year ago. On October 7th, and that's why you go into a situation like this very nervously, because you say, okay, they're saying this one thing, but the true tests are going to be, because Hamas has to give up its arms if this is going to go through. And secondly, they have to disavow any kind of leadership role or any involvement in any future government in Palestine. So those two very important things have to happen before any of this can sail through. And then we'll have to keep an eye on them. And I'm sure that Israel is going, and I'm sure President Trump will keep an eye on them, because he will unleash holy hell if Hamas decides to do anything the likes of what they did on October 7th. So I trust President Trump. I want to give him a chance. I want to give him a chance to see if this happens. And if it does, if it's possible that it does happen after so many decades in our lifetimes that we have seen this kind of stuff happen in Israel. If it does, then he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. That's my say.
And Dan, going to your point, those two things that you talked about were part of the peace plan, was having, Hamas completely annihilated and not having them control any part of any of this. So
Right.
You were correct on that. Elena, pivot to you. What are your thoughts on what's happening in America? As you know, what happens over in the Middle East does eventually end up pivoting here. As you know, there was massive pro-Hamas protests on college campuses and universities. Jewish students and Christian students were being pummeled. They were being targeted. They were being blocked out of going to their classrooms. What do you think about this?
I think that the worse Hamas does in Gaza, the worse Jews are going to do in America. I think that these kids have lost their ever-loving minds. They think they're part of something that's wonderful and important. They're supporting terror. And I'm not sure if when he was talking about make sure October 7th is bigger and better, did he mean in Israel or did he mean right here in America?
I think he meant here in America.
Yeah, did he mean both?
That's how I took it.
Or
Maybe both. Maybe both.
And, the fact that these people, the people that were screaming back to him, those were all, you can tell by their accents, people who were born and raised here in America. Those are American voices screaming. And that is the amount of support that this terrorist organization has in this country is extremely, disturbing to me. And that's just the ones we see. And I have a feeling they're just the tip of the iceberg.
What's disgusting to me is to see that huge crowd there. That shows you years and years, and this starts with Barack Hussein Obama bringing a lot of these idiots here illegally, and then Biden coming in and bringing these idiots even more illegally. Those people should be arrested. Those people should be deported. They should be out of here. In Washington, D.C. today, right in front of the White House, there's a bunch of these pro-Hamas people, hundreds of thousands of them, praying, in front of the White House and saying, "Free Palestine, free Palestine." They should not be here. They should not be in this country. They should be the hell out of here. And that's the problem. That is the huge problem that's going on. And I pivot back to Seth. I want to know your thoughts on this video. And there's other videos coming out of DC, coming out of other parts of the country, Los Angeles in particular. And as you know, Antifa is on the rise right now in Portland, Oregon. Antifa is on the rise in Chicago, Illinois. And then you have stupid Democrat governors who are continuing to allow this. Then what's even worse is you have the local police department that is supporting the Antifa that's going on. What say you?
Well, first I want to just kind of comment on what Dan said. Yeah, if Hamas screws up, we're going to unleash holy hell. But by then, thousands of people will have been killed. So it's kind of like, yeah, you broke the vase, now you're punished, but you still got to break the vase. We shouldn't wait for them to do anything. They should be killed now, hunted down like dogs, put down on their knees, and shot in the back of the head. They are animals. And that rabid behavior they have is infecting people in this country now, like on that video. We have morons that think rape and murder of Jews is cool. Free Palestine. Number one, show me where Palestine is on a map.
Exactly.
Who was the leader of Palestine? When were they established? And what is their national currency? Tell me those things. And you can't, because there's no such place as Palestine. There never has been. We need to deal with these people swiftly and harshly. People don't want to talk about that. They don't want, oh, no, there's freedom of speech. I'm not saying they can't say it. They are free to say whatever they want to say. But that doesn't mean you're free from repercussions of what you say. You preach this stuff on the street, you should have your ass kicked. That guy should have been drug off that car and beaten until he was begging for someone to help him, and then beaten more. Because these people don't understand compromise. They don't understand talk. They understand violence. So give them goddamn violence. Give them more violence than they can handle. And I'm telling you, they will back off because they're cowards. The minute you stand up to these people, they will back off because they don't have the balls that they pretend to have. They pick on Jews when there's 25, 30 of them, and they can beat on them. You get them one-on-one, they'll shut up. We got to stop coddling these people. We got to stop patting their butt and going, it's okay. Say what you want to say. We're not going to say anything back to you. That has to stop. This happened once before in the 30s in Germany. And people said, no, it's all going to end. Don't worry about it. It's going to pass. It's just a phase. That little guy with the mustache, he's not going to be around much longer. Don't worry about it. 6 million people later, shit, we should have done something.
Yeah.
All the Jews in Poland were gone. Most of the Jews in Austria were gone. Most of the Jews in Europe were gone. So either we're going to wait for that to happen again, or we need to stand up. And not just Jews. Everybody needs to stand up and tell these people, shut up, get back in the basement, or we're going to put you in the basement. You decide how you want this to do. It's not a question. It's just wondering how you want to get back in your basement. Walking or on your back. How do you want to do it? This is getting out of hand. It's getting worse every month. It's not gotten any better. It's not slowed up. It's not stopped. It has gotten worse every month. They're killing people now. And we're still talking about how we should deal with this. Kill them back. That's the only way they're going to learn is if you kill them back. They're not going to stop. They think they have the moral high ground. I don't know how many more people we need to see die before we realize these people are terrorists.
Well, Seth,
The guy in that video is a terrorist.
Yeah, Seth, yeah, I would say
as a terrorist.
I would say so.
I agree with you, sir.
He shouldn't be saying that in the United States. That's my whole point about it. And you want to go fight, go fight. Put them on the front line. And then go to Gaza and FAFO with Israel and just let them handle it and cut Israel loose, cut them loose, let them finish it, let them do whatever they have to do. I'm just saying they should leave the United States out of it, and they should leave the United States saying this rhetoric in the United States. We don't need to hear that. We don't need to hear the fight. Just get out. But you're allowed to do it, though. You're allowed to. It's our First Amendment right.
Yeah,
but as long as they're not doing violence in the United States, they're allowed to do that. That's our First Amendment right to say those things. As much as you hate it, and I hate it, and it's just they're allowed to. If that guy in that video was creating violence and hurt somebody, then you drag them down and you beat them up.
His rhetoric, but Damon Geller, his rhetoric is creating violence because he is literally calling for the genocide of Jews. That's basically what he's saying when he's calling for another October 7th, a bigger October 7th. He is calling for another genocide. Because remember, they keep lying and saying that the Israelis, that the Jews committed a genocide with the Palestinians, even though we didn't.
Well,
so what he's doing in America, and this pivots also to the alt-right morons like the Candace Owens and the Tucker Carlsons and the Megyn Kellys of the world that are pushing all of this narrative, saying that, all this stuff about Israel and that like the Jews killed Jesus and all this stuff. And that's another horrible thing that puts people like us and Seth in danger and other Jews in danger. It's people like that moron in New York. It's people like the hardcore Hamas or pro-Hamas people in DC that are infiltrating America, and people are listening to their message, and that's how an uprising starts.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
They can't ignore it.
They need to go because they're waving flags not of the United States.
No, they're waving Hamas flags.
Exactly, and anyone that waves a flag not of the United States and speaks rhetoric like that needs to go. So if he wants to go fight and he's not going to stop fighting, say, okay, here's a ticket right to the Gaza Strip and have at it. FAFO with Israel.
I know.
You shouldn't have been here in this country to begin with.
I agree with you, but it's too late. That's not going to happen, and it's too late for us to be separated from it because that war is infiltrated here already.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's shipping these people off. I love the idea, go on the front lines, but it's not going to happen. It's all the same with all the people with the Ukrainian flags in their bios. Go over there. Go ahead. It never happens. This isn't going to happen. We have to be realistic. What we want to happen and what is happening are two entirely different things. We're involved, and there's really no getting out of it now, because it's on our doorstep. It's here. And just a little side note, if anybody ever tells you the Jews killed Jesus, okay, yeah, we could go down a biblical lesson on that. But Jesus knew exactly what he was getting into when he came here. He came here to sacrifice his life. He knew he was going to die so he could resurrect. So don't make it all like Jesus was some victim. Don't worry about it. Don't let them put that on you.
Unfortunately, with the Hamas protests, they go well beyond our borders. I mean, this stuff is going on all over the world. I mean, we've seen these protests, pro-Hamas protests in Britain, for instance, in Brazil, and even in Italy, where my brother's working, and he was vacationing with his girlfriend there. And they were in Milan when all of these pro-Hamas protesters came over, and a number of police officers were injured there. So this is well beyond our borders, guys. It's not just here in America. This pro-Hamas stuff, it's worldwide. You have to wonder, what is causing this? What kind of lobby do they have where their message with young people is getting around the world, and they're supporting Hamas? Incredibly as it seems,
borders.
they're supporting Hamas.
This is George Soros is doing. It's George Soros. It's people. It's more people like George Soros. It's the Qatari government. It's the Iranian terrorist regime. They all have billions and billions of dollars, and that is what's causing this. These people, like the idiot in New York, he's getting paid to do what he did. All of the people in DC, they're getting heavily paid to do this and to spew out the hate. And just like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, they're all being paid by the Qatari government to spew out hate because it's, quote, the new thing right now. And that's what's making the money. But they are getting paid by these billionaires, by these socialists, by these terrorists. They're getting paid to do this.
I also blame public education.
Yeah.
Or lack
That's
thereof.
the teachers too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in Montgomery County, Maryland, for example, where that's where I am, they have people that are a part of CARE that are teaching in Montgomery County public schools. I mean, CARE, as we know, is a terrorist organization. I thank President Trump for labeling Antifa a terrorist organization, but we already knew this. And I know they're working on labeling the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization, but we already knew this. This is like old school stuff. We already knew this. Yes. So, we're about to end the segment, but what we always say, and Seth, you know this, we always say never again. Never again means never again, and never again is now. And I agree with everything that you all said. But the main thing is, and I do wholeheartedly agree with Seth on this, we must stand up, we must fight back. And in my opinion, Hamas should have been completely annihilated by now, because, everybody is targeted now. It's not just Jews. When they come for Jews, they come for Christians too. We're all targeted right now. And we just have to.
Yes, I mean, look what's happening, and nobody's talking about it. All these Christians who are being
in Africa.
Killed in Africa, and nobody's talking about it. We have,
and the Christians were killed in Syria too. No one really
right. So it's not just Jews. I mean, look, the Christians are being killed in Africa, and nobody's talking about it. Yep. Why isn't that on the radar of all these mainstream media people? You have several 100,000 Christians that have been killed in Nigeria. Nobody's talking about it. What's going on? Why are we hearing about that as well?
It's the Muslims who are doing the killing. That they're not going to talk about
right.
Exactly.
They're not going to talk about that.
Exactly. Well, anyway, guys,
I know we're going later on the segment real quick, but I just want to ask you.
You have 10 seconds, sir.
Why don't we just cut Israel loose?
Yeah, let them go.
Yeah, just cut them loose and end it. That's all I'm saying. And we can end our own conflicts ourselves. Peace through strength.
I can tell you something. I'll give you a little insight. So the issue with, what's going on in Israel is you have a huge conflict between Netanyahu and the rest of the people in the Israeli government. That's the problem. You have the deep state in Israel, just like we have the deep state in America. There's a lot of people in the Israeli government that are trying to undermine Netanyahu. They're trying to put him in jail. They're trying to make him look like he's going to lose the war. That's why Netanyahu is working with Trump on the sidelines privately, because they know what it's like to have a deep state go against them and try to throw them in jail. So that's why you see President Trump really working hard with Netanyahu here, because Netanyahu is dealing with issues within his own government right now. And that's the truth.
Yeah. And I'll just add, think about all the people who are making billions of dollars and all this aid that never gets anywhere and all that. I mean, it is so complex. And the Biden administration really got us into a web of money laundering and that it's probably hard to unravel at this point. I think it's far more complicated. I know far more complicated than I know. And I think really that anybody outside of it could know.
Well, this was a great segment, guys. We're going to take a quick break. Coming back, we're going to be talking about the Senate hearing that our Attorney General Pam Bondi had the other day. We'll be right back after the break.
The APN's The Pulse podcast is hosted by Alexandra Levine from the Alexandra Levine Life podcast. And Damon Galdo from the Jersey Shore podcast. And Seth Eisenberg from the Conservative Corner podcast. Also, there will be 2 additional guests on every episode. The Pulse is live every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
And that promo was correct. We are live right now from 8 to 9 p.m. Sometimes we go over on the Pulse. This has been a great show so far. We're going into segment 2. Our Attorney General Pam Bondi, she took charge yesterday at the Senate hearing. We're going to play the first clip.
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
I'm so sorry if none of you heard that clip.
I heard it. She was she smoked the Democrats, all of them, no matter who it was that challenged her. You know what? I was leery about Pam Bondi when she first became the Attorney General. But after what I saw her do yesterday, I was so impressed with her. I mean, she really took all of those Democrats to task, especially that soundbite that she said to Dick Durbin, I wish that you love Chicago as much as you hate Trump. But she had a lot of other one-liners in that whole thing. If you had watched some of her testimony, which lasted for a long time, and every one of them, Adam Schiff, no matter who it was, she blew
we're going to play that one too.
She blew them out the water. And I was just really impressed. I was a doubter, but she came out smoking yesterday.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of Adam Schiff, Damon shared, let's play that one, and then we'll get everyone to comment.
A director to pass the buck. So I'm asking you, will you support a request so that the committee, or indeed I believe the American people, should be able to see that video or audio tape? Will you support that request?
Will you apologize to Donald Trump
So
for
I
trying to
guess
impeach
the answer is you won't support that
after
request.
you now know that
So
Joe
let me-
Biden tried
let
to
me
cover up
do
Hunter
this.
Biden's involvement with
Excuse
Ukraine?
me. Let me.
So in that clip, Adam Schiff is, of course, accusing Tom Homan of stealing $50,000 in cash from the FBI. Adam Schiff lied, of course, and claimed that Thomas Homan took money from the FBI. And of course, Kash Patel investigated that. Kash Patel said there is no evidence that Thomas Homan took $50,000 worth of cash. And we all know Thomas Homan. He's the border czar. He's doing a phenomenal job. And Adam Schiff, of course, is just lying just across the board. And there was also a really great clip in there where she says to Adam Schiff, are you even a lawyer? Because you're supposed to have a law degree. You're supposed to be a lawyer. She's like, do you not understand like what being a lawyer is about? You're a federal prosecutor. Like, this is like disgusting and insane. So, the grandstanding of the Democrats. So I turn to Elena on this. What do you think about all these Democrats that were grandstanding yesterday, lying yesterday, and how do you feel Pam Bondi did, in your opinion?
I mean, Pam Bondi did a nice job, but it's really not that hard to outsmart these people. So it's not hard to, out one line them. It's not hard to, just destroy their arguments quickly. Dan, respectfully, we're just meeting. I completely disagree with you. I think just because she had some snazzy lines and she did well yesterday is not making her a strong attorney general. She has had too many flubs, too many things that just haven't happened. And I feel like she's actually far weaker than an attorney general we need, given the political climate and the amount of crimes that she tells us about that happen all the time. Oh, we found out about this. We found out about this, but nothing ever happens. I think she seems like a nice lady. I think I'd love to go shopping and have lunch with her. It ends there. I would love to see that place.
Well, let me ask you something, Elena, because she was your and my Florida Attorney General. What do you feel the difference between her being the now U.S. Attorney General and then when she was the Florida Attorney General?
Well, if I'm being honest, I was not paying attention when she was the Florida Attorney General. I was at that point really focused more on national politics. But if you want, I'll get some answers for that, and we can pick on her next week.
Okay.
Like, she may have been fine at the state level. She may have been stronger at the state level. She may be in over her head.
Seth, I pivot to you on this. What do you think about, the Democrats again grandstanding here, thinking it's okay to have violence in their streets, thinking it's okay for left-wing Antifa to basically just uproot their whole entire state and their whole entire district? And how can we have the people of California, the people of Illinois, stop voting for these morons?
All right. Well, the first thing I want to say is, what are you drinking, Elena, out of that mason jar? It looks like moonshine. I just want to check.
Yeah, it looks like moonshine.
You think I'd still be talking straight? No. I know. I'm not that interesting.
But number one, you're not going to get those people to start voting for him. It's just never going to happen. There will always be Democrats. There will always be Republicans. There will always be communists. There will always be independents. You're never going to get them out of office because there's always going to be that segment of society that, are diehard Democrat or diehard independent or diehard Republican. And no matter what it is, all they look for in the ballot is the R or D. That's it. They don't give a shit what name's in front of it. Don't care what that person said. Oh, that's a D. I'm voting for it. Oh, another D. I'm voting for it. You'll never get rid of them. They'll always be there. And I agree with Elena. This is just more, we're on TV, make it look good, make some good sound bites. Let's get this stuff out. Meet you at the bar after this and we'll have some beers. Nothing ever changes. We'll have the same type of hearings in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years. Same people saying the same things, talking about the same issues, and it'll always be there. I don't even watch that stuff anymore because it's insulting to my intelligence because I know what's going on. It's a game. It's that simple. It's a game. Nothing changes.
Well, okay. I was just going to follow up with that with you. So with, with the lines that, she said, the Dick Durbin line, the Adam Schiff line that she said, because like what Dan was saying, a lot of people were very disappointed in Pam Bondi in the beginning, but what I was reading is that people that were disappointed in her in the beginning, they kind of changed the way that they felt about her a little bit. They felt that this was like a strong moment for her. What say you, Seth?
Yeah, like Elena said, if you put me in a room with kindergartners, I'm going to tear them up. I'm going to be like the baddest man in the room. You put somebody who's got an intelligence out of high school in a room with Democrats, they're going to tear him up. It's like she's punching down. You made fools look like fools. Okay, you jumped on a couple of Democratic senators who were idiots. And you made them look like idiots. Okay.
Yeah, but you know what? What I liked about it is normally when we get a cabinet member like an attorney general appear before Congress, they let Congress run all over them, and they just sit there like logs, and says nothing. Kash Patel and Pam Bondi have come out strong against these Democrats, and that's what I like. Even if you think it means nothing more, if it doesn't mean anything, I was impressed the way she fought back, and it's about time that Republican cabinet members fight back to these Democrats, people like Adam Schiff, all these people that we saw yesterday during that hearing. I was impressed with her fighting back. Now let's get some action and let's have her prosecute some of these people. We started with James Comey. We'll see where that goes, but I'd like to see other people end up in jail because these people did outrageous things, spying on our senators, spying on all of these Republicans, 92 of them, and nothing has been done. I want to see people go to jail because this stuff has gotten out of hand.
I'm glad you brought that up. No, I'm glad you brought that up. So I'll pivot that to, hold on. Let me make that point. So I'll pivot that to you, Damon Gallo, and then Elaine, I'll let you respond. Okay. So Dan just made a great point. We found out by Kash Patel and Dan Bongino that all of these senators, their phones were tapped. Under the Biden administration, Merrick Garland had them tapped. And this is, and a Republican congressman's phone was also tapped under the Biden administration. And I agree with Dan that these people should be held accountable and that they should go to jail for what they did. That's a crime, what they did. Total crime. What say you, Damon?
Absolutely, they should. That was an atrocity. They should go to jail. But are they going to? To Seth's point, all these hearings that they have, they talk about different things, and nothing ever happens. Now, can it happen? Yes. I love the fact that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, I watched all those hearings and going at these Democrats like this and just embarrassing them and pantsing them on live TV. Sure, they need to be pants on live TV, but is it going to happen? Are they going to go through with it? Because if they don't go through with it and they don't prosecute these people for what they've done, then people are going to lose more trust in government. You can put a spectacle on like that, which was great. I loved it. What Pam Bondi did, I was laughing my way all the way home when I was listening to it. I loved Kash Patel when he went directly at him, and I really loved it. I do. But are they going to do something about it? And they need to. If they don't, then people are going to lose trust in the government. And they're just going to say this is all just a sham. It's all a Jerry Springer show, and that's what they're going to look at. And I really hope that they do it. I hope they prove it. I hope they bring it to light and say, here it is. Here's the evidence of everything that happened. We have it. We have them dead to rights of what they've done, and we're going to prosecute them. And they make sure that they are prosecuted.
Elena, your follow-up.
We're having the same conversation over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Every time, every week we talk about, is anybody ever going to get prosecuted? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
We have so much record of I could put immigration crime cases together myself against mayors and governors and city councilors around the country. Why are none of these people ever being prosecuted? They all received letters at the beginning of this term saying, here's the crimes you've all committed. But no, we're never going to prosecute you. What about the auto pen people? Whatever happened with that? We just don't talk about that anymore. Doge, all the findings that Doge came up with. We know that money isn't really being spent the way they said it was being spent. Where is the money? Where did it go? Who authorized, the condoms for, Martians or whatever it was? It is just nothing ever happens. And my faith in the DOJ is I don't care how good, how smart her talking points were. You're just not going to change my mind on that.
But you know what? That's only part of the problem. You point to the DOJ, but they also have to prosecute these people in a very liberal jurisdiction, Washington, D.C. And you know how it goes when it comes to Republicans being prosecuted over there. They throw the book at them. But you get a Democrat in front of one of those juries and they find them not guilty. They can commit the most atrocious crimes and they're found not guilty. So you also have to discuss where these jurisdictions. I'd like to see some of these people, if it's all possible, to be prosecuted outside of the Washington, D.C. district, in other areas like perhaps Florida. I mean, because the verdict's always going to be, it seems to me, if you prosecute one of these guys, and Comey will probably be found not guilty if he's prosecuted in Virginia, as it appears that he's going to be, if the case isn't dropped altogether beforehand. But I'd like to see them prosecuted outside of Washington, D.C., Virginia, Northern Virginia.
Well, you're
and
not
then maybe we could get some actual results.
Well, okay, but I don't think you're going to see them prosecuted anywhere. That's what I'm saying.
You're probably right. No, I really would like to see. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, okay? They've not even been in office, less than a year? Let's give them a chance. Let's give them a chance and see what they come up with.
Okay, I'd rather be wrong, but I'm not feeling it right now.
Yeah, me too. I'm not feeling it either. I'd rather be wrong too. I'd much rather be wrong.
I'm never wrong.
I want to play this clip of Pam Bondi and her interaction with Senator Blumenthal. Let's play the clip.
Let's go.
In lobbying the Justice Department to drop that lawsuit. It was dismissed, so it's not subject to a court review. What conversation did you have with Mr. Ballard?
Senator Blumenthal, I cannot believe that you would accuse me of impropriety when you lied about your military service.
I am
you
not
lied.
asking
You
you.
admitted you
I am
lied
not
to be
accusing you
elected.
So we all know about what we call, President Trump called him Don A. Dick. because he claimed that he served in Vietnam and he didn't. And of course, Pam Bondi called him out for his lies. And Senator Blumenthal was questioning her as an attorney in Florida and accusing her of illegal activity, which she was like, there's no record that I committed illegal activity as the attorney general, as the attorney in the state of Florida. So, they're questioning her credibility as an attorney. They were questioning her credibility as the attorney general in Florida. And of course, they questioned her ability as the U.S. attorney general today. And that's the point of these Democrats, is they really don't have anything valid to ask Pam Bondi or Kash Patel or Kristi Noem or any of the cabinet members. They just want to grandstand. And I watch it because I laugh. I watch it for reporting, but I really hope that the average American watches it too, that the average American sees who their senators are, who their congressmen are, how they're representing them. I really hope that this opens up the minds. We see that it opens up the minds more of young people, but I really hope it opens up the minds of the average voter, of the average American, to see how their senators really care about them. And let's play the last clip of, I want to play this clip, and it will be the last, of Senator Hirano and her exchange with Pam Bondi. Let's play that clip.
Candidate. Thank you. The double standard is crystal clear, Senator Hirano, crystal clear. Because
What happened?
I don't know. There was more of that clip. I guess it got.
Thank you. The double standard is crystal clear, Senator Hirano, crystal clear. Because you didn't complain for 4 years when President Trump was being targeted by Jack Smith, by the last Justice Department. But the American people spoke loud and clear when they overwhelmingly elected him.
Okay, so the first part of that clip was cut out. So it was all.
Can you paraphrase what she said?
Yeah,
what did she
I
say?
will.
Okay.
So she criticized President Trump. She criticized President Trump in his presidency, and she was responding, and she said, "The American people, they voted for a mandate here. They voted for a mandate, and it was clear in November of 2024 that the people overwhelmingly voted for President Trump, and that they wanted him as the president. And our justice system, as you know, went after President Trump before he ran, when he announced he was running in 2015, up until his election, 2020, and then in 2024, they were still trying to go up against President Trump. So Pam Bondi was trying to state for the record that the American people overwhelmingly voted for President Trump in his third. I say it because they voted for him. We know the 2020 election was stolen. They voted for him again overwhelmingly in 2024. And now you have this narrative by Kamala Harris, who's running around saying that it was the closest election results ever, and that there was no mandate. There was no mandate.
Oh, and she's now turning to cursing. She's now cursing and doing all this.
Oh, she's always been cursing. She's simply drunk. So Dan, what say you about this?
Then she ran out of Jack Daniels. So
yeah, really. Dan, I turn to you.
What about Pam Bondi or about the?
About Pam Bondi, about again lawmakers. Again, Kamala Harris was a senator.
It's all grandstanding. We've all talked about this. They're just grandstanding up there. What I enjoyed and what I liked was the difference in this administration fighting back, pushing back, embarrassing them. And even though most of us think it's always just a bunch of show, it's just rhetoric, it was good to see our folks standing up for themselves and not just taking the heat and taking all their insanity. And you've shown several examples of this insanity, and most people don't get to see it. Most people don't pay attention. They're busy with their lives. They're working, trying to support a family, and they don't get to see this stuff all the time. But we get to see it because we're in the news business and because that's what we do for a living. So
the point is, I want the American people to see this.
They should, and we should, and they need to see this, and we need to tweet it out.
And there are so many different outlets. There's C-SPAN, there's Fox News, there's YouTube, there's Twitter.
And a lot of people are getting their news now from YouTube. I mean, there is a lot of people. I see a growing.
Watch our network more.
Right, they're checking out YouTube. They're not getting their news. In fact, I just saw a poll. This was the latest Gallup poll that the mainstream media now has fallen now in trust to 27%. That's the lowest ever. 27% of Americans actually trust the mainstream media anymore. How do they stay in business, guys? How do they stay in business with those abysmal poll numbers?
One thing, when you mentioned it to me last night, Dan, I said I couldn't answer that question. And I thought about it. the only way I can think of how they stay in business is maybe big pharma that advertises on them on their networks.
Their
There's
donors.
a lot of money that flows through that. I started doing some digging last night, and they're one of the biggest contributors to these networks. Big pharma is, and I didn't get any further than that, but that's I think that's what's keeping them alive.
And you have to think about the conflict of interest with that. If Big Pharma, just about every commercial break you see, there's a Big Pharma ad of something. They're advertising some pill or some drug. And then the mainstream media, you're going to trust them to report the accurate news about the pharmaceutical industry when you know they're your biggest advertisers on virtually every single show? Do you really trust them?
Yeah, when you mentioned Jimmy Kimmel losing millions of dollars per show and Stephen Colbert.
He's lost 70% of his audience since he came back. 70% of his audience.
And he's still on now.
That's not accurate. That's not accurate. He on the night he just so that we're truth telling here. On the night he came back, his ratings jumped up, and then they dropped 70%.
Right. That's what I said. That's what I said since he came back. That was very accurate. I have it right here in front of me. I can look at it and show it to you if you want. But that's what happened since he came back.
You're not
70% of his audience.
Twisting statistics like a Democrat.
I'm not twisting anything. I'm reading it from here.
You won't let me finish. You won't let me
Go ahead.
finish. He was getting about 1.6 million viewers a night steadily. He jumped up, and then from that one night that he jumped up after the whole brouhaha, that dropped back down to his normal level of 1.6. So it was a 70% drop from the one big night of his return. So
what did I mix up? What did I confuse? That's exactly what I just said.
When you say that out of context,
I didn't say it out of context.
You're very combative, and I'm just.
No, I'm trying to be accurate here about what I said.
And when you say his ratings plummeted 70%, sure,
right.
It's true.
From when he came back.
But you said it out of context. And
what do you mean I said it out of context? How did I say it out of context?
Politician, the way I just explained it, Dan. I mean,
what do you mean the way I just said? You're just saying the same thing I just said.
Well, I would say
that's not what you said. But that's okay.
That is exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. It's not any different than what I already said.
Yes. Okay. And if we just take snippets.
Anyway, what's the big difference? I mean, what's the point? I mean, the guy is a loser. His contract's up for renewal in January. We'll see if it gets renewed.
If we take data out of just in snippets, we sound like politicians and Democrats who do that. And I just wanted to make sure that we were speaking holistically about the situation.
So now I'm being accused of being a Democrat, or what did you just call me? Just like
a politician? I didn't tell you that. I said if we on the show. So I didn't. All right, Dan, have it your way. I knew that. I knew what he said because I knew we talked about it last night. I knew where he was going with it. I agree. Saying that to the listeners, saying it dropped 70%, but he said when he came back, it dropped 70%. But the first night, it was up 70%, and it's
then
just because of that one.
So again, no, I've done.
It's not really a win. It's not really a win over Jimmy Kimmel to say that. And
Jimmy Kimmel.
Kimmel.
He's a loser, and he's not winning anything right now. That's why I don't know how they stay on how they lose millions of dollars. But no, I understand what you're saying, Elena. Yeah, any listener, it could be looked at in a different way. Yes, but Dan and I talked about this same thing last night, so I knew what he was talking about. But
right,
the
listeners might not.
They may not have. Yeah, right. I got you. So, but yeah, I don't know what else is keeping them in business of big pharma with that is a big issue. Like if big pharma is keeping these legacy media companies afloat, then how do you trust them when they can do this? They can tell you, hey, take this drug. That's how far I got with my research with like how they are staying afloat right now and can continue to stay on with losing money with loser shows is because of, well, like I said, I will dig deeper into it, but big pharma is where number one hit first. So I will be Jersey Shore SURE about that next time I bring it up.
So before we go on to our next break, so Seth, I'm going to end the segment with you. I kind of want you to close this out a little bit.
Okay.
So Seth, to the viewers, to the Americans, where I wholeheartedly believe that they should watch these things. They should watch how the senators behave. They should watch, the back and forth a little bit. They should. And I agree with you. A lot of it is grandstanding. A lot of it is for viewership. A lot of it is to get the soundbite. I agree with Elena on that as well. But how can we, how do I say this? For the people that are not the politicians, for the outsiders, like you and me, we're not politicians. We're in the political arena, but we're not politicians. How can we get more of those people, the average American, the average voter, to see what we see and to understand what we understand?
I think the first thing is we want to tell these people, don't take what you see on C-SPAN seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Treat it like a WWE event. There's the good guy, there's the heel, and there's the face. The face is always going to be the good guy. The heel is going to attack the face. And once you figure out who those people are, then it all makes sense. Like today, Miss Bondi was the face. She was the good guy. The Democrats were the heels. Those were the bad guys. Once you realize that whole hearing makes sense. Like, oh, okay, now I get it. She was attacking the bad guys. The bad guys were coming back at her. 2-3 years down the road, it's all going to switch. Now the face is the bad guy. The bad guys are the face. Same type of fight. They're still complaining over the same things, but they've just switched roles. And once you realize all they're doing is playing a role, it makes sense. Then you understand exactly what's going on. It's just to keep the general population interested just enough to keep them happy. Like, oh, they're really doing something. I believe they're doing something. I'm going to go back and drink my Bud Light and watch that dude who thinks she's a chick that used to be on Bud Light. Because all men want her and all women want to be her. I mean, that's the kind of people that we're talking about. I mean, people don't care. And it's sad, but if we can package it like WWE, we'll get more people watching. More people will take notice and more people will be interested. Because I've told you before, that 3-foot bubble, 95% of people don't care what happens outside of it. Don't care. Unless it directly affects them, they don't care. Like, whatever. I don't care who Pam Bondi is. I don't care if she's yelling at. I don't care. Doesn't affect me. We have to package it as it is, as entertainment. And that will get people interested. People will, hundreds of thousands of people will watch it. I'm serious. Look at the WWE. They're like $1 billion a year industry.
Well, as you know, President Trump likes UFC with Dana White.
Package it
and actually he says he's going to have a UFC fight in front of the White House lawn on his 80th birthday.
Like politicians have UFC fights. Put them in, put them in the cage, give them gloves, and go, you got 3 minutes, take care of business, and let them go.
But it's not for his 80th birthday. It's for the country's 250th anniversary, right? Which I believe falls around the same time, right?
Yeah, it falls around the same time in June. But anyway, guys, we're going to take a little break. Coming up after the break, we're going to be talking about celebrities acting stupid and crazy. We'll be right
No
back.
way.
No. Oh, God.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
So we are back with segment 3. I just want to say thank you to everyone that is watching tonight. Thank you for everyone that is liking and subscribing. Please like and subscribe us on America's Pulse Network on our X channel, our YouTube channel, our Rumble channel, our True Social channel, our TikTok channel, and our Instagram channel. We're everywhere now. So thank you guys so much. So celebrities acting stupid. So this was a bizarre bizarre thing that happened. Mark Sanchez, who was a former NFL quarterback for the New York Jets, he was, I don't think he is anymore, a Fox Sports analyst. He was supposed to be analyzing the Monday Night Football game in Indianapolis. Well, he decided on Sunday night to get a little drunk, and he was going outside of his hotel room, and he was like near the alley, and he decided to just blatantly attack a delivery driver. He verbally attacked him first, told him to get the hell out of here, stop parking here. And the delivery driver, 69-year-old man, had no idea who Mark Sanchez is, thought he was an employee of the hotel. He walks and speaks to the manager of the hotel and says, hey, there's a guy screaming at me. You work here? Like, what's going on? Like, do I have to move my delivery truck? And the manager's like, no. So the 69-year-old guy comes back out, still doing his business. And Mark Sanchez gets into his face and tells him to get the hell out of here. And he goes into his car and he starts punching the guy and hitting the guy to the ground. And the 69-year-old man's like, what the hell is going on? And the 69-year-old man happens to have a knife on him. He thought that Mark Sanchez was going to kill him. It was self-defense. And he took out his knife and he stabbed Mark Sanchez in the chest. And after he stabbed him, Mark Sanchez, of course, he was holding there's video of him holding his chest. And of course, he flails down on the floor. The delivery driver's on the floor. He's all bruised and pummeled and he can't get up. And he's got broken bones. He injured his neck. His ribs are broken. But of course, the big flash was Mark Sanchez is in critical condition. He was stabbed. So, of course, myself and others were thinking, oh, my God, like, I thought he was attacked by an illegal, a BLM guy, a freaking Hamas dude. Like, I jumped to that conclusion, just like Fox Sports did. We all jumped to that conclusion. Well, of course, it turns out that, as I said, Mark Sanchez was not the victim. He was actually the aggressor. And as he was in the hospital getting treated for his wounds, you have lovely police officers that say, Mr. Sanchez, you have the right to remain silent. You have been charged with battery, with public intoxication, with going into a person's vehicle without their consent. I mean, it was a bad night for Mark Sanchez. Not only did his career come to an end, I mean, if I'm his wife and he's married with kids, I wouldn't know what to believe. Maybe his marriage is going to come to an end after this. But the judge said I don't care who Mark Sanchez is, whether he's a celebrity, former quarterback, whatever. I treat him like he's everybody else. The guy puts his pants on the same way that I do. This is just crazy. And now Mark Sanchez, he is being found for felony 5. He's been charged for 5 felonies now. If he is found guilty, he will go to jail for a minimum of 6 years and possibly up, depending on the jury. Bizarre story. Pivot to Damon Galdo. What do you think of all of this?
Well, after this, sweetheart, if you're watching, my marriage might end after I say this because Heather, my lovely wife, is a Jets fan. She loved Mark Sanchez, even though he was horrible. But Mark Sanchez, I would say deport him with everybody else.
Deport him?
Because he ruined the Jets, who was my wife's favorite team. And then he came to my team, the Eagles, and was horrible on the Eagles. Even though I don't watch football anymore, I gave it up. But at the time, I was still watching football before they got political. And he ruined my team. And now he goes and does this. So, Mr. Sanchez, I would say just deport him. That's going to be my new line for everybody that does something wrong. I don't want to pay for you to be in jail anymore. I'm not going to. It costs like $40,000 a year to house an inmate. So you know what? It's like exile. That's it. You do something stupid like this, you're exiled, deport, go.
So Elena, everybody pounced on the driver, of course, because he was the one that stabbed Mark Sanchez. But after the whole videos came out of Mark and that they found out he was the aggressor, the family of the delivery driver, they actually put up pictures of their father or their uncle in the hospital. I mean, the guy can't even see. He's got broken ribs. He's got an injured neck. He could have been dead. What say you about Fox Sports, about the majority of the American people jumping on the delivery driver and saying it was him? He was the aggressor.
Well, I think it just like you said, all of us jump to conclusions sometimes before we know what's going on. And it's just a shame. I did hear, if I'm not correct, that the delivery driver is suing Fox Sports.
Yeah, and Mark Sanchez, yes.
All right, I get suing Sanchez, but Fox Sports, I mean, they're responsible for everything that every employee does. I really think that that's kind of ridiculous. And if anybody in the room here knows any more legally about this, that they could shed some light, is this an actual case that they could have? I mean, that he was off duty. He was running down an aisle, right? I mean, it's not like he was in the middle of a sportscast or something and he jumped over the desk and started beating somebody up. I mean, he was on his own time. What does the company even have to do with that, except that the company has deep
More
pockets?
money. I was going to say, I think it's a money issue.
You know, and then it kind of makes me like feel a little bit less sorry for the delivery driver when he's engaging in what appears to be a frivolous lawsuit. My big question is, though, who is Mark Sanchez? Because this is the most I've ever heard of him. And is he got screws loose? Like, how did this happen?
Well, in my opinion, I mean, this happened at 12:30 a.m. 12:30 a.m. The guy's about to, broadcast the next day. And many women and men may disagree with me on this, but this is why my father, as a businessman, never took separate vacations, was never away from my mother. It's better if you can, and Charlie Kirk was very good at this, he brought Erica with him and the children. I believe that if Mark Sanchez would have brought his wife and kids to, to the hotel, in my opinion, this wouldn't have happened. Sometimes it becomes reckless when the man is away from the husband, when the husband is away from the wife, and vice versa, when the wife is away from the husband, and they do reckless stuff, and they don't have that spouse there to kind of keep them in check. And I've noticed
never happened to me, by the way. Never, not once.
Well, maybe not you, but it does normally happen. It does normally happen when the husband is away. Sometimes they play, and this guy played, and he got way too drunk, and he did a heinous thing, and as a result, he almost killed a guy, and he almost got killed in the process.
Yeah, I was being sarcastic. Yes, I have gotten in trouble with
But
that.
I can just tell you that it's just based on my generation. My father never took separate vacations. My father went on business trips, either stayed with his married friends or he stayed with his mother or his mother-in-law, and that kept him in check. In fact, Mr. Sanchez was away from his wife and kids across the country. In my opinion, that was subject to him being reckless. And this might not have been the first time that he did this. This was just the first time that he got caught for doing this, in my opinion. Seth, what say you?
He should be forced to play for the Dallas Cowboys. That would just be horrible. He would probably ask to be stabbed again. I don't know. This whole society as a whole is slowly slipping into the toilet bowl. It's always something every other day, somebody doing this or somebody doing that, shooting this person, stabbing that person, beating this person up. It's like, it's getting to the point where law-abiding citizens need to carry a weapon if it's legal for them to do so, be proficient in that weapon, practice with it, and then, God forbid, if they ever have to use it, don't hesitate. Drop the hammer. But I don't know. I mean, what can you say? It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to be a human being right now. I'm embarrassed for him. I'm embarrassed for the guy's family who's taking pictures of him as he lays in a hospital bed covered in blood, hooked up to machines, hoping that increases the payout. I mean, it's all around embarrassing. I mean, the guy's a stain on society. He got stabbed in the chest. He beat the old man up. Let them two deal with it. Let's not make it a big public scene and try to get viral on it or likes or thumbs up or whatever. Let them handle it. And again, social media is going to be the downfall of society.
Well,
there's nothing quiet anymore. Everybody knows everybody's business. There's nothing sacred anymore.
Right. Well, of course, they spin it because, Mark Sanchez is a conservative, voted for President Trump supporter. Of course, they put out pictures of President Trump and Mark Sanchez together. So, they always have to, equate, the people that President Trump, surrounds himself by, the people that support President Trump. Oh, my God, this guy supports President Trump. And look at him. Turns out he's the aggressor. He's the bad guy. What say you about that, Dan?
Well, all I can say is that if he is proven guilty, if these allegations turn out to be true, or if he pleads guilty, that Mark Sanchez would throw away his career like this is sick, sad, and insane. Never mind his abysmal career as a football player.
Well, I think he ruined his career with this. I don't see Fox Sports keeping him on.
True.
I don't see it.
True.
You know, I don't see it at all. And I think if they did keep him on, I think it would be a huge liability, in my opinion.
I agree. And as you said, there's lawsuits that have already been filed, but the guy still has to have his day in court.
That's true. That's true. You're innocent.
I was going to say, he played in that stadium right behind you, and he stunk it up.
The only reason I have that is because the Phillies are playing tonight in Los Angeles. In fact, the game just started. So we'll see. You know, I said, you know what? I've been watching the Phillies for many years, and they're playing tonight. They did horrible those first 2 games here at home. So, you know, fingers are crossed. We'll see what happens.
Well, Dan, to Elena's point, do you feel that that Fox Sports should be sued for this?
Well, who knows? They might settle out of court. I mean, here's a victim of somebody who worked for them, an employee of theirs. And I don't know what this guy has in his contract of whether Fox, but we've seen, depending on the jurisdiction of where this case is heard,
Indianapolis,
that the network might want to settle out of court.
Yeah. That's very true. That's very true. And, you know, going on these celebrities now, this is like outside of Mark Sanchez. And, you know, I hate celebrity marriages. I hate this whole thing. But of course, you know, they blow up Nicole Kidman's divorce to Keith Urban. You know, they were married for 19 years. Nicole Kidman talked about, oh my God, I'm so happy I married a fellow Australian. Then it turns out that they were separated. And people, of course, speculated and said, oh, well, they're separated because they're both touring and whatnot. Then it turns out she filed for divorce. Then it turns out now Keith Urban is with another woman, a much younger woman. So it's like, why is this a big story? Why is this a big thing? You know, what say you, Elena? I mean, this is so predictable with celebrities, but they make a big thing about this.
Well, I think it's just a big thing because people eat it up. You know, it makes money. It sells magazines. That's all. I mean, I personally, I just think it's sad. I think the whole thing, the we're talking about Kidman and Urban, right? He's got the little young guitarist girlfriend now, supposedly, who's hanging around, and you know they fell in love over the music, I assume. Shame on him, and you know, poor Nicole, man, she's just unlucky in love. This is 2 divorces now.
I know.
You know, it's just a shame, and she isn't like a J-Lo type. Like J-Lo gets married and you're like, you know, you got your watch. Like, how long is this going to last? Nicole Kidman, like, I think she's actually the marrying type. Like, I feel bad for her that Keith Urban has turned on her like this. But
I do too. I mean, leaving the Christian Scientist or Scientologist crazy Tom Cruise. I mean, to be married to him, oh my God, like craziness.
And have him dump you for like a 25-year-old. Just no.
Crazy. Yeah. And then we have, you know, the celebrity Laura Loughlin who played Becky in oh my God, why am I blanking on like a Full House. She just got divorced from her husband of 20 years. If you remember Laura Loughlin, she was a part of the whole thing where she actually lied about her daughter's is her college essay to try to get her like in a better college, you know, that whole debacle that happened. Or she lied about her grades. She filled out the applications for her daughter so her daughter would get into like an Ivy League school, and basically like cheated her daughter or cheated her way into her daughter going to like a much better school. And then Lori Loughlin, there was a huge lawsuit. They were going to put Lori Loughlin in jail. They settled instead, but her husband was with her through all of that. And now all of a sudden, you know, they're getting divorced. So again, it's when you put, in my opinion, when celebrities put their whole relationships out there, like with J-Lo and Ben, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise, when all these celebrities put their relationship out there, in my opinion, it's subject to divorce because everybody's constantly looking at your relationship. Paparazzi is swarming you all over the place. You really don't get a break. But I blame the celebrities because they do that. They do that by not keeping themselves out of the limelight. Yeah. They want to continue to keep themselves in the limelight. Prime example of a great marriage, and I hope that it's still, you know, knock on wood, Baruch Hashem, I hope it still stays intact, is Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. They have a great relationship. Great. They met on the set of I Know What You Did Last Summer. They've been married for almost 25 years now. Nobody thought that they would ever make it, and they've made it, and they're doing phenomenally well. And I really hope that they make it. And it's because they keep themselves out of the limelight. You don't really see them. They keep themselves out of the limelight.
And it points to the disparity of marriages. I mean, you're pointing to these celebrities and stuff, and then you look at somebody like Charlie Kirk. Relationships are something you have to constantly work on. And Charlie Kirk was known to say to his wife, "What else can I do to make you happy?" And he was constantly saying that to his wife. I mean, relationships are something you work on. It's not something you put on hold and then expect everything to be rosy peachy at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And that's why a lot of marriages fail. But I admire Charlie Kirk for the way he treated his wife, the relationship he had with his beautiful wife.
No,
Yeah,
he
well,
can.
I'm just saying, I've been married for close to 20 years, coming up on 19 years. But the thing is, marriages are very hard to deal with. They are. You're going to be with the same person for a long time, and you're going to have knockdown, drag out fights here and there. But you have to work together. And if you want to put yourself in the limelight, you have to have that discussion with your partner. It's just like running for Congress. When I was asked to run again, I wasn't going to do it because I didn't want to put my wife and my kids through it again. But my wife got behind me and she said, "You're going to get the GOP support. Why are you not going to run?" I said, "Well, I don't want to put you through it, but you have to talk about it." Now, there's times where I leave my underwear on the floor of the bathroom and she screams at me for it.
Yeah.
We have the hallway sex where we pass through each, and then basically.
Why would you leave your underwear on the floor?
Yeah.
Oh, if I forget, if I'm leaving for work, then I'm getting a shower and I run out the door real quick. Yeah, sometimes it happens once a week, maybe. So
remember tradition. We must know the way to make a proper home, a quiet home, a clean home. The role of the mother.
You can't do that if you leave 52 times a year. He leaves his underwear on the floor.
As long as
My point is that's why Heather can bitch because you're not keeping the home clean.
I'm flawed, and so is my wife, and we embrace each other's flaws.
So that's a little thing.
That's how you have.
As long as your underwear doesn't look like
As long as you don't have skin marks on your underwear, you're fine.
No, that doesn't happen. Not yet. I'm not old enough for that yet. So
just kidding. Well, anyway, guys, we're going to end this segment. We're going to take another little break. Coming back, we're going to be talking about something that we can all relate to, the upcoming elections. As you know, we have elections coming up this November and next year. Right now, we are working on the Virginia and New Jersey elections coming up this year in November, coming up in just in a month. So we'll be right back after the break talking about that.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
So thanks for sticking with us, guys. Segment 4, upcoming elections, the real polls. When I say the real polls, I mean the polls of we the people, not the fake polls, not the Trafalgar polls, not the big pollsters that people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for, the real polls of we the people and what is going on the ground. Let's put up the first slide of the New Jersey governor race. So I'll just read that. It has just come out that this has to do with the radical left lunatic Jay Jones, who is running against Jason Maharis, the great attorney general in Virginia. He made sick and demented jokes, if they were jokes at all, which were not funny, and that he wrote down and sent around to people concerning the murdering of a Republican legislator, his wife, and their children. Abigail Spermberger, who is running for the governorship, is weak and ineffective and refuses to acknowledge what the lunatic has done. Even Democrats are saying it is, quote, resignation from campaign territory. Democrat Jay Jones should get out and immediately put in and reinstall, I should say, the incumbent Attorney General Jason Maharis. He has my complete and total endorsement. Jason will never let you down. This is pretty serious.
Yeah.
I mean, there was total, just I saw it. The black and white screenshots that Jay Jones wrote about literally, and he might have been kidding, but still, you don't write that. And he might not have been kidding. We don't know. We don't know in the context of it, but when you write, I will blatantly kill this person, it's a threat. It's a bona fide threat. And we can't have somebody in office like this.
He texted He's texted the following, according to the Washington Post. He texted 3 people, 2 bullets, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. And Jay Jones went further with Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die.
Yep.
Jay Jones wished that Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die in her arms. It's so disgusting. It's hard to believe, but it's true.
Yeah, it's true. And thank you for that. It's true. And I agree with the president. I agree with the people of Virginia for calling for this person to get out of the race immediately, resign immediately from his current position. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I hope that the people of Virginia don't put this guy in, because if they put this guy in, this is what we're going to be dealing with.
And he's running for attorney general, the chief law enforcement officer in Virginia.
Exactly.
How ironic is that? This is crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
And he should already say, and here's the problem, though. There's a lot of enablers among the Democrat elite there. I mean, they're saying, oh, yes, this is bad. This is indefensible and disgusting, but not disqualifying him to run for attorney general. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
If they're even saying that much, you're right. Not many are saying that, though. Like Nancy Pelosi was interviewed about it, and she was like, well, it's really up to the people of Virginia. And how come nobody complains when I get it? Somebody says they want to shoot me. Like, that was her answer. I mean, I'm paraphrasing.
And Tim Kaine donated money to him, endorsed him. Tim Kaine isn't backing off, his support for him either.
There was a fundraiser, I believe it was supposed to happen tonight, and Tim Kaine was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But it got canceled this afternoon. So Jay Jones something's going on there, so either I don't know if
they're trying, I can tell you they're trying to figure out what to do. They're trying to figure out if he should, if there's so much pressure that's going on him to step down, because there are Democrats that are telling him.
He was supposed to be at somebody's house, so maybe that person backed out. Like, we don't know exactly what happened.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't have the insight on that, but I know that the insight right now is that they're trying to regroup. They're trying to figure out how they're going to handle, this. Because again, if the more pressure piles on, and like I said, Democrats are actually asking him to leave. If more pressure piles on for him to get out of the race, and if his big donors are saying we're pulling out, like that's it, he's finished.
Well, you have the Virginia Fraternal Order of Police saying he needs to drop out of the race. In a statement, they say the men and women of law enforcement work tirelessly to combat the violence you wished on a fellow Virginian and his family, and they're asking him to drop out. And then now here's something interesting. Joe Scarborough of MSNBC, formerly is it still MSNBC, or is it they switched that new thing?
MSDNC.
Yes, and he says he's called for a new nominee. So he's asking that they should have a new nominee.
Yeah, but the fact that Joe Scarborough is actually calling for it, I mean, come on.
I know why they canceled that thing tonight. They found Damon's underwear on the floor.
It's true.
You crazy?
All the way from New Jersey. The underwear came all the way from New Jersey. From New Jersey to Virginia.
It's like somebody hit a deer. What the hell?
But keep in mind the structure of this. So the president, he endorses Jason Maharis. He does not endorse Winsome Sears. He won't blatantly say, "I give Winsome Sears my total and full endorsement," because she's running a terrible campaign. But in a way, he helped Winsome Sears by attacking Abigail, her opponent. What say you about that, Dan?
Well, that's an interesting development, and there has to be reasons why President Trump has not come out all out for a Republican in Virginia. We need Virginia. That would be great to have her as governor, but. Yeah, that's an interesting development. He's kind of lukewarm in supporting her, it seems, and not full-throated support. And I don't know all the facts, but you're right. She has run a very bad campaign over there.
Mm-hmm. She has. Now, Seth, I'm gonna up your cholesterol and your blood pressure a little bit. So Jason Maharis actually had a fundraiser hosted by your good friend, Governor Larry Hogan, yesterday. Yes. So why would Governor Hogan host an event for him when he was endorsed by his arch nemesis, President Trump? Was Larry Hogan not aware of the endorsement? Do you think if Larry Hogan would have known about the endorsement, he wouldn't have had the event? Your opinion?
Larry Hogan just wants to get his 100-pound head in front of every camera he can whenever he can. He's an attention whore. he's afraid that if he's not in front of a camera every 30 seconds, everybody will forget about him.
Exactly.
It's politics. I mean, maybe he had a good reason. Maybe he's going to be on. If that guy wins, maybe he'll be on his staff. Who knows? But it's all just incestuous. Hogan's never been a Republican. Never. I don't care what anybody says. He endorsed Wes Moore in Maryland. He helped campaign for Wes Moore in Maryland.
And he's going to put Wes Moore back in.
Yeah. And so is the Republican Party. They're backing him in Maryland, too. I mean, it's – and a little off topic, I just want to say, if you live in Maryland and you donate to the Republican Party, you are an idiot. Just send me the money. I can use it better than they can.
Donate directly to Tim Fazenbaker, please.
Or send it to Tim. And I'll lie to you and go, yeah, I'm supporting the Republican candidates with your money. Of course I am. Send me more. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's the guy who texted that should, if he's got, even if he has baby balls, he's a man, he should drop out. I mean, that's not what a man does. It's not how a man conducts himself. And that's not how a man talks in public. He should step back and let somebody else take over, or just see they're like, hey, you won. I really need to let you win because I really stepped in a big pile of it, and I'm very sorry.
And Elena, let me put it to you. Do you agree with Seth on this? Should the guy just, bow out? Or should the guy just say, you know what, effed up, I'm gonna withdraw. I'm gonna give it to Jason Maharis. What do you think the guy should do?
Absolutely. Just done. Just, you know what? I humiliated myself. I said some terrible things I regret, but the people of this state deserve better. Mm-hmm. That's it. End of story. Go home.
But why do you think that he's continuing on?
Because he's another egomaniac who's in politics, not for the people, but for his own gratification. Mm-hmm. They love power. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care who they insult. And the fact that he hasn't, the way I see it is the fact that he hasn't, withdrawn yet is speaks volumes.
Mm-hmm. Now, I do believe with President Trump's endorsement for Maharis, it will help.
Uh-oh, not our girl.
That was, and I believe that the only reason Trump endorsed Maharis, the only reason, was because of these text messages from Jay Jones. I wholeheartedly believe that President Trump did not want to get involved in this race until the very, very end, until the numbers got so tight, and the numbers are getting tight right now. But the timing of this was very interesting because Virginia is now going through early voting right now. They're dealing with mail-in ballots right now. They actually say that the return of the mail-in ballots in Virginia, and we'll pivot this to New Jersey as well, is coming back in full swing for Republicans. The early voting is doing better for Republicans. They are pushing, the Winston Sears campaign is pushing their constituents to come out and do early voting. And I know for a fact that Winston Sears has people all over the state of Virginia at the polls, bringing buses, making sure that people go to the polls in early voting because we want it to be too big to rig. But I do believe that President Trump did Winston Sears a favor, John Reed and Maharis a favor by endorsing Jason Maharis without endorsing the other two, in my opinion. Now let's pivot to the other race. So this is important because we have, Damon Gelder from New Jersey. We'll go to the slide, the New Jersey governor slide. So Trump-backed New Jersey governor candidate Jack Ciattarelli just gained the endorsement of Democrat former West New York Mayor Sal Vega per New Jersey Globe. Multiple Democrats are now lining up behind Jack. This is a sign of momentum. New Jersey Republicans should storm the polls. And this is true. I have been watching the rallies. I've been seeing this, and Damon Gelder, you can vouch for me on this. I mean, Democrats are now coming on full swing for Jack, and he needs that crossover. He needs the crossover right now. What say you about this, Damon Gelder?
All right, so I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant. You talked about in Virginia, that guy, yes, he needs to drop out, absolutely. And the reason he hasn't is because I believe the Democrat Party has become the party of evil. They really have. And I don't agree with every Republican, but it just seems like Republicans are more on the side of life, on the side of, you saw the Charlie Kirk shooting, what happened, there was no riots or anything like that. So that's why he's not dropping out, because he's still getting backed by his Democrat Party saying, no, he shouldn't drop out. And he may even win. And that's a shame. It really is. It's a shame. And when it comes down to like Jack Ciattarelli, yes, he does have Democrats that are supporting him right now. We do have I think 170,000 people in the state of New Jersey have switched from Democrat to Republican. We have 2.5 million across the country that have done the same, which is good. Now, again, I don't agree with every Republican. They're not all the best. There's flaws in every politician, but it seems like the Republican Party is the party that is on the side of common sense, and the Democrats are just so far left. They're gone. They don't. I can't understand why they keep doubling down, tripling down on these 80, 20, 90, 10 issues, and they keep doing it. And I really believe that Jack Ciattarelli has a very good chance. Now he's down in the polls, but every Republican for every poll, they always trend lower. We've seen that in Trump. We've seen that with Ciattarelli in 2021. He was down, I think, 11 points in the polls, and he lost by 3. So the polls are always off for Republicans here. So, but we're becoming more of we are a purple state now, I would say, but I think we're transitioning more to a red state, and that's why I'm getting on top of all these things. When you have assembly candidates like like Peter Sykes and Jack Rangan, and that are running, and Constance Ditzel and
Nelson
Gonzalez, yeah. So if you look at it, we're trying to get on top of everything. You look at the Camden County clerk right now. It was Lou Greenwald's running mate for 20 years, and she's a Democrat. Then she resigns from Congress and she takes the county clerk position. She's in charge of the election, so she's in charge of counting the votes, and in charge, she oversees it all. So I looked it up, and you guys saw that. And Dan helped me out by looking at it, getting it to the news. So we just sent a letter, so she should recuse herself from having this position, because New Jersey state law says that she should. So that's what we're going with. I really think if we stay on top of it and we come together, and we can really make a dent. And I think Republicans are starting to do that finally, because we talked about it before. Republicans, I think they're good at heart, but they're either lazy or they're too busy, because we work a lot. We have kids. The Democrats seem not to have kids. So that's it. That's all I got to say. I think we're going to make a big dent. I think Jack is going to win, and we need it in New Jersey right now.
Yeah, Dan, I want to pivot to you. Do you really feel, in your opinion, that we can make New Jersey red again?
Well, what gives me a sense of optimism is that the polls are beginning to tighten in New Jersey. We've seen several polls in the last few days that have showing this race really tightening. And actually, she has been a terrible candidate. She has fumbled and stumbled through this campaign. I mean, first of all, it was about finances, and that she had no idea how she got so rich. Then she was blaming her husband, that he was in charge of the finances, and she has just stumbled her way through this whole election. We had what is it? She's not ruled out. I don't know. Maybe she's changed her position on this, but she's not ruled out a tax increase for New Jersey. That was the last that I heard. New Jersey's 11.5% corporate rate is the highest in the country. It's 10.75% top income tax rate, hits at $1 million in earnings, and is the 4th highest after New York, 14.8%, California, 13.3%, and Hawaii, 11%. So you have a candidate who's not ruling out these tax increases, unless at the 11th hour she already has, but I haven't heard her say anything different. So yes, I am optimistic. That Jack Ciattarelli has a very good chance to win this election.
I do too.
They had their debate tonight, by the way, just so everyone knows. They had their debate at 7:00. I didn't get to watch the rest of it because we came on. So guys, check it out. It was on ABC.
Seth, let me pivot to you because we only have a minute. Going back to these different elections, we had Patrick Murphy. He was the Democrat. We've had him for, he's 2 terms, and now he's done. So statistically, they say when you've had a Democrat for 8 years, it automatically pivots and switches to Republican. Do you think, in your opinion, that we can switch it to Republican, but keep it Republican for a while?
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, I'm not holding my breath, because Damon covered it. Republicans are lazy. Like, hey, there's a red wave coming, so I don't got to go out and vote. My neighbor's going to do it. I'm going to stay home. That's why I don't put much weight in the polls, because I don't know if polls are manipulated to get people thinking, oh, I don't need to show up now. We're going to win. It's a sure thing. I don't have to vote now because we're going to win. The news told me we're going to win. So is it possible? Yeah. It's a 50-50 shot. I mean, it's just that. And then on a side note, I want to go to Dan's house. He's got the Terminator video game.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite video game. I'm surprised I didn't even know it was. Yeah, that's
I've been
my
looking
favorite
at the whole
video
night.
game. I used to be hooked on that game, and then my son got me the machine for one of my for Christmas one year. So
yeah,
it's amazing. We have another Terminator fan out there.
Yeah, she's been drinking her mason jar. I've been watching that, and then between her drinking that, I saw the video game. And I'm going to get both of those together, the mason jar and the video game.
Let me pivot to Elena before we have to go. So Elena, as we know, we have mail-in ballot situation, going on in New Jersey and in Virginia. Obviously, the mail-in ballot situation was not fixed before this election. And Jack, in my opinion, he won the last time. If it wasn't for the mail-in ballots, the dump, they came in at the last second, at the last hour. Jack was actually winning Bergen County, which is a liberal county, and then it flipped at the last second back to Patrick, and then Patrick Murphy ended up winning. So, what do you feel in your, in your opinion? How can we guarantee that it's going to be too big to rig this time? How can we guarantee that with all the extra mail-in ballots that may come in for the Democrat in Virginia as well as in New Jersey, how can we solidify that Virginia will stay red and New Jersey will flip red?
I mean, I'm watching Scott Pressler out there and his army knocking doors, and they're knocking on something, tens of thousands of doors between now and the election, and really trying to activate people. And I think that there's something really valuable in that. That's one way to do it. I'm hoping that this has a similar effect to what happened between 20 and 2024, where with Republicans actually being so frustrated with the state of affairs in these states that they insist on going out, and they do go out and they get out, and again they make it too big to rig. I hope that people are hearing around elections that it's really suspicious that Democrats refuse to clean up voter rolls. That's it's racist, and then as soon as when they're winning, or they even have a shot of winning, that they all of a sudden the elections are secure again. So, I mean, people just got to get out. You got to get up. You got to early vote. If you don't like mail-in ballots, which I personally don't like, I hate the whole system. I think they should be banned nationwide. But I don't have a problem with early in-person voting. If so that way you can have a 5-day or 7-day window to get over there. There's no excuses then. And only mail-in ballots should be absentee as needed. So, what more can we do, really, at this point?
I can tell you, everybody, early voting is going on in Virginia and in New Jersey, as well as mail-in ballots. If you are one of those people, like Elena said, that if you like to vote on the day, we encourage you to vote early. We encourage you to vote early and get your friends to vote early. Get 10 friends, 20 friends, 30 friends. That's what President Trump did. And guess what? He won as a result. Mail-in ballots are doing very good in New Jersey. Also, more Republicans are returning the mail-in ballots more so than Democrats. But as you know, mail-in ballots are subject to fraud, and it is what we call corrupt internal election personnel, which means it's USPS. It's the corrupt internal election personnel that really causes the fraud in the elections. It has been proven many, many times across the board. So before we go, November 4th is the election in New Jersey and in Virginia. We're going to put up the flyer that Damon Sherrod made, our producer. Ding! So there we are, live GOP election party with Jersey Shore host of the podcast, Damon Galdo. I may not be there live, but I will be there through recordings. I think Seth Eisenberg, you're going to be there live, right? On scene?
Yeah, my probation officer let's me.
So, oh my God, the conservative corner coming to New Jersey, Oigevalt.
With the hammer. With the hammer.
Yeah, so that'll be really fun. So we're going to be covering that entire election day from 7 a.m. all the way till election night. Hopefully they'll call it that day, so we're not waiting days and days and days. But that's going to be really fun. So please, guys, Stay with us on the America's Pulse Network. Again, don't forget, you can follow us, like, and subscribe. We're on X, we're on Rumble, we're on True Social, we're on Parler, we're on TikTok, and you can follow all of us. I'm accessible on Facebook, Alexandra Levine, Alexandra LEVI20 on X, and AirLevine85 on all the other platforms. Damon Galdo, he's on Facebook, he's on X. Seth Eisenberg, he's on the Conservative Corner on Facebook, Conservative Corner on X. Elena, the base mother, she has a wonderful Rumble channel, and you're also on X as well, Elena, is that correct?
Yeah, I am.
And Dan, where can our viewers find you?
Boxalarm.com at youtube.com.
Awesome. Wonderful. Oh, and we're also on YouTube as well. Thank you guys so much. This has been such
that flyer right there, Alexandra. I'm sorry. Anybody who lives in Jersey, you can look at that flyer and you can buy tickets at that event.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get tickets to the event. Contact Damon Galdo if you are in New Jersey for tickets. Of course, our producer, Damon Sherrod, will be there. He'll be live streaming it all day. And it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful day, a wonderful, wonderful event. Thank you guys so much for being on the Pulse with us. Thank you for our special guest. And this is the Pulse of America. We stand for God, we stand for country, and America first. Have a good night, everybody.
Right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country, America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.